cue me and do the clapping and be like, action. It's a make or miss league.
Maybe a little more funny than that.
I don't know what am I make or missing? It's a make or miss league. Cut that.
Make ice Trae. Trae Young was showing off his range again last night, so much so that John Collins got the chills. Does John need a jacket?
Yes, apparently all of us need jackets. When he's shooting that deep, maybe I'll take a bomber. You look good in a leather jacket, Race. Matt, maybe yours is denim. I don't know.
Look, John, we feel you.
I love the creativity here. I love the creativity. You know, Trae Young is really starting to make a name for himself in this league, and this is their thing. So I think it's dope. I'm looking for them to add more to it because I know more is coming with this.
All right, miss injuries. John Wall missed me with that any kind of knee trouble because he leading the break, goes behind the back and lays it in. We showed this earlier. It's so beautiful. Well, vintage John Wall. He was a blur a couple times in this game too, Matt, showing off the speed.
Yes. Absolutely. I've been on the wrong end of some John Wall antics. He did a 360 layup to this day. That was like 6 years ago. To this day, it's still one of the most watched videos on Instagram. So,
oh, look, there it is.
Here you guys go.
The producers were nice enough to find it for you.
Oh!
Look at that.
I just on a serious note, I love to see him getting back in form. You hate when the game is taken away from young players, and I love the fact that he's finding his footing and getting healthy.
Ooh.
And I love Rachel saying, miss me with that. Miss me with that. I heard you, Rach.
Just saying. Just saying. Make the struggle. Staying in Houston. The struggle, I guess, is real. During garbage time, the Wizards' struggles on full display. Brad Beal, not happy. Janae, very sad. How do we feel for Bradley Beal right now?
Oh, man. I don't want to say free Bradley Beal, but man, this man is leading the league in scoring, and he's doing it, 4 points higher. Okay, we gonna say it? Free Bradley Beal.
I mean, in fairness, the man signed a very big contract extension with that franchise, so he does know what he has gotten himself into. He has consistently said he wants to stay in Washington, but I do not know if he still feels that this morning. After that again. It's been a rough month for the Wizards, I'm not gonna lie. All right, missing. The Jazz came from Matt Barnes with the real. The Jazz came from behind for their 9th straight win yesterday, but in the first half, it was all about the Knicks. Austin Rivers, he went 10 for 10 for 25 points. He had Steph Curry talking about how hot he was. Chiney, did you ever start a game 10 for 10?
I mean, yeah, but your girl was shooting layups and they couldn't stop me at Stanford. They couldn't stop me in the league, you know what I'm saying? So to do this from the perimeter, this was impressive. I mean, dare I say, are the Knicks fun? Okay, let me not get ahead of myself.
What about you, Matt? 10 for 10?
He was hot. I started off 7 for 7 and had 25, but him going 10 for 10, hot. I love that he's finding a rhythm in New York. And New York is going to sneak up on some people. I think the play-in 7-10 situation is really going to fit New York well. I think they're going to have a chance to sneak in the playoffs if they're playing well at the end.
Interesting things finally going on at the Garden. All right, I do want to stick with that Jazz-Knicks game to talk about the other side, because the Jazz trailed by as many as 15 points, but ended up winning the game by a comfortable 14-point margin. Ended up being Utah's 9th straight win, the longest active win streak in the league, and the longest by any team this season. Now, after playing 34 minutes last night, this morning, Donovan Mitchell started showing symptoms linking him to a possible concussion. So, according to team officials, and Mitchell now been placed in the NBA's concussion protocol. He will officially miss tonight's game against the Mavs. But let's go back to the Jazz as a whole, looking at their upcoming schedule. They play the Mavericks twice. Then they get the Nuggets. Matt, how long do you think the Jazz can keep rolling, especially with Mitchell's absence, at least for tonight?
It's going to be tough without Donovan Mitchell. Obviously, he's their go-to guy, but this is a great team, and I love what they're doing over there. Shout out Quinn Snyder. They're really starting to build a foundation similar to what the San Antonio Spurs have been doing. This is one of the best teams in the league, but I still think they need that piece to get them over the hump, possibly a Bradley Beal or a Zach LaVine at the trade deadline. But I love what Quinn Snyder's doing over there in Utah.
Yeah, and I agree with you, Matt. Without Donovan Mitchell, the streak is likely going to end potentially, but still the league should not relax. And, it takes me back to what Coach Steve Kerr said before facing them not too long ago. He gave them the best compliment ever, the Utah Jazz. He said, they look like us, not too long ago, 3 or 4 years ago. That is absolutely the highest praise. And when he said it, I started looking into the numbers because they are dominant on both ends of the floor this year. They're the only team that's top 5 in both offensive and defensive efficiency. They've also, speaking of the Warriors, they're number 1 overall in total threes made. And they're the only team with 6 players that average making over 2 threes a game.
Figures.
So a lot of threes, great defense. And then you look overall, like this team, they know how to play with one another. They've got veterans, they're getting healthy, and of course they're led by an elite player in Donovan Mitchell. So yes, I'm a nerd. Yes, I love the numbers, but guess what? Numbers never lie. And in this case, they support the case of the Utah Jazz.
We found a basketball player who loves analytics. I'm going to keep that for Chiney, kind of maybe in her bio box or something like that.
Sometimes those numbers lie, Janae. Sometimes they lie.
You're right. You're right.
Now that's what I'm more used to. I will say about the Jazz, it's fascinating to me because, of course, the first team to have a COVID positive, and of course that was the trigger for the NBA shutting down last spring. There was a lot of talk about what was the relationship like between Donovan Mitchell and Rudy Gobert. In fact, Donovan kind of alluded to it in a Good Morning America interview not that far afterward. But the bubble actually really helped this team. It kept them close. What could have been divisions got kind of fixed by the fact that they had to be together all day, all the time, without any family and friends. Donovan and Rudy were playing ping pong together at one point, and I watched these guys inside the bubble get close in a way that they might not have, again, if the season had picked up in a more traditional, regular way. And I think you can see that closeness right now. It is really, really fun to watch. Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.